Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and another video. If you are new, welcome. My name is Sierra and my channel is dedicated to my life and everything in between. Before I start and I go any further, I want to use this time to ask you all to like this video right now. I'm going to give you a few seconds. All right, I hope you did it. Like this video, subscribe. I will also put in a link to my second channel. I do have a second channel. It's called Beauty Beyond Mirrors. And that channel is solely dedicated to topics that I love to discuss in regards to self-love or a lack of self-love. I do offer in some of my personal experiences with each topic, and I do offer in some solutions because, like I always say, what's the point in talking about issues if you can't offer a solution, right? So head over to that channel and let's get into it. I'm also, before we get started, I'm also gonna pin my most recent video that I just put in. That was probably one of the longest videos that I've done, and I really touched on many different topics, and I don't know, for whatever reason the algorithm is not pushing it up. It literally did not push it up. I probably got like 1 like, which is ridiculous. So I'm going to post that here if I can. If I cannot, then at the end of this video you will see the video that you can click, my most recent one. Anyways, I wanted to discuss a topic kind of playing off of my last video. Again, if you haven't watched that, make sure you check it out. I touched on a lot of different topics, including school. So I did want to expound more on why I became a nurse, right? In case I didn't already. I'm sure some videos back I have. I'm pretty transparent when I talk about why I became a nurse and what my goals are in the future. So this video might not be too long because I do have to study because I have class tonight. So I wanted to talk about why I became a nurse. So initially, and let me just scale back. I graduated high school in 2012. Right after I graduated, I immediately enrolled into Broward College. At that time, it was Broward Community College. Now it's just Broward College. Doesn't matter, right? But be that as it may, I immediately enrolled into Broward College, and I was taking prerequisites to become a nurse, a registered nurse. The reason being is because my mom was a nurse at that time, and she's been a nurse since the 90s, but she was a nurse and she was like, Sierra, ooh, hold on. Which is not past due to keep on pay your past due today. Speaking of Chamberlain, no, I'm on a payment plan. One thing about, well, at least they're sending me reminders. It is what it is. What was I saying? So yeah. What was I saying? Oh. So yeah, anyway, my mom was a nurse. She drilled it in my head, Sierra, you know, you should go to school and be a nurse. You know, they make good money and you'll be able to flourish in the medical field because the medical field isn't going out of style anytime soon. There will always be people getting sick, and there will always be people, unfortunately, passing away. So that's a high demand career. Me coming out of high school, to be honest, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't even like school. I'm not a schools girl. I would never advocate and say, you must go to school. I would never make school or additional learning your only solution. Now, obviously, going to primary school or like first grade, second grade, third, those are your foundational pieces. Do it. That's very essential, guys. Even when it comes to just connecting with your peers and people who come from different households, it helps you on so many levels is what I'm saying. I'm specifically talking about advancing your education post high school. I would never be the one to say that is your only way to succeed, because we can get on another topic, but what is success? Success is how you paint it, right? Success can mean something totally different to this guy up the street than it does to me. There are some people that say that McDonald's is more successful than a mom and pop store that sells fresh, authentic foods. Meanwhile, McDonald's is selling poison on the plate. So who's really successful now? Success is how you measure it. Don't get all wrapped up in people's ideas of success. Success is how you paint it. But be that as it may, to scale back, I don't like school. I'm not the best test taker. I'm definitely not like a straight A student. I have gotten A's on a couple of assignments and stuff, but that's not really my norm. I really have to try and try, whereas somebody like my counterpart would be able to do it with no problem. So anyways, I say all that to say I wasn't a huge advocate for school. I really didn't want to go to college, but I knew that I had to do something, and it was really almost pressure from my mom, I'm not gonna lie. But I understand why she did it as a parent. She didn't want her child just not knowing what to do. And remember, she comes from a different generation where they operate and believe that school is the only way to succeed. They don't really take into account the Bill Gates of the world. They don't take into account people who genuinely want to do what they love and may or may not get paid according to that, but they love it. Such as, let's say, arts, pottery, teachers, you know, all of which doesn't pay the best, but they love it. She don't really take into account of that. My mom really take into account school, and not just school, but you have to be in something that's making a lot of money, something that is high demand. Because in her eyes, and in my eyes too, I understand, like, why go to school, bust your butt, do 2-4 years, pay these people money for a degree that you A, can't get a job in, or B, is paying less than McDonald's. Now I'm being dramatic, but you know what I'm saying. So I didn't want to go to school. I ended up doing it. So 2012, I immediately enrolled into Broward College, and then I did a few courses there. After that, I really started to hone in on things outside of school, which was music. I love music still to this day. I loved music even more then, and I wanted to set my sights on being an artist. I like out front, like being a recording artist. So I did that. In the midst of doing that, I was also traveling because I worked for an airline. I was living my life, as I don't think I would have done or been able to do as much if I was studying and in somebody's school doing what I really didn't mentally have the capacity to do at that time. I would never regret it. I spent close to, it was 9.5 years that had passed from the time I graduated to the time that I enrolled back into school. So if I round up, I spent 10 years out of school. 10 years out of school. And to some people that's like, dang, a whole decade. To me, when I even think about it, it's like, dang, Sierra, like, it's been that long. But like I said, I don't regret it. That's what life is all about, guys. And I'm gonna keep going, but I just want to add this little nugget. That's what life is about. Life is about living for you. You cannot live for somebody else because they can't live for you. And the last thing you want to have in your later years is regret. You do not want to have that regret of saying, I did everything that somebody else wanted me to do, not because I wanted to do it. Now I'm miserable. I'm angry all the time. I'm harboring ill feelings towards that person. You don't want to be that person. So always go where your heart sings. That's just what I say. So like I said, in the midst of that 10-year hiatus from school, because I dropped out, I was a college dropout, I lived life. I experienced a lot of life events, both good and bad. And I started to really hone in on my artistry, which I don't know if you guys know, I do have an artist page. I don't highlight it a lot because I don't have any new music out. But if you want, I will also link that channel up, let's say right here. It's actually Ʞᴟᴜ's music. That's my channel, and I have all of my music videos, some interviews, and some live performances. So yeah, go and check that out. Okay, shameless plug. But anyways, what led me up to re-enrolling in school, I moved out of the state to Georgia, and I stayed there for close to a year. Not quite, wasn't quite a year, but I stayed up there close to a year. And I moved back here because there was, let me be honest with y'all, I didn't really care for Georgia, the atmosphere. Prior to me moving there, I had been to Georgia so many times, I literally lost count. But I just couldn't get with the lifestyle. I felt like it was too, number one, cliquish. I moved up there for music. And I moved up there for another reason too. But I moved up there for music primarily. And it's very cliquish, and it's just too country for me, y'all. It's too country. I couldn't get with it. Let's just say that I couldn't get with it. And I was up there alone too. I was up there alone. Now, that wouldn't have mattered so much if I truly enjoyed the cities that I was in, and the state as a whole. But because I didn't really enjoy it, I ended up moving back here to Florida. I moved back in with my mom, which is what I did not want to do, because I believe that once you leave your mother's house, you stay out. Now, that is what you want on paper, but when life happens, you have to go, you have to go with it. It wasn't a money issue though why I moved back. It was more of like emotional and mental trauma that I experienced. I'll say that, and I'll leave it at that. That's the only reason why I moved back. It wasn't money. I was paying diddly squat for a 800 square feet apartment in a nice area. So it wasn't the money. It wasn't the money. That's not why I moved back. But anyways, I moved back, and this was in 2021 is when I moved back. I then had a talk with my sister and my older sister. And, you know, we really had like a woman-to-woman talk, and she was just about to graduate from nursing school, because she too didn't really know what she wanted to do, but she went to school while I was still, you know, living life. And I don't know why my nose keep itching, y'all. What does that mean? Anyway, so we had a nice sister-to-sister talk, and, you know, she was just telling me things that previously I didn't want to hear. Previously, if my mom would say, because she was really the one that would say, if my mom would say, Sierra, what are you going to do? When are you going to go back in school? When are you going to, I would shut it down. I would become defensive. So eventually my mom stopped, and everybody stopped, because I'm like, no, I'm not going back to school until I'm good and ready to. Like, I didn't like them trying to shove that notion down my throat as if school is the only way. So after I had that one-on-one talk with my sister, and we really spoke about life and how she's like, hey Sierra, listen, you could still do your music and still go to school as well. You know, we started speaking about how our mom is not going to be here forever. Our dad is not going to be here forever. And we're not going to always have this opportunity of living with her, paying little to no bills, and getting our life together. So we might as well take advantage of it, because we don't want to be at these dead-end jobs living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this all makes sense. At the time I heard it, this is 2021 Sierra, but prior to that, I did not want to hear it, because I felt like anybody telling me to do anything besides music was telling me that they don't think I'm going to succeed in it. And that couldn't be far beyond the truth. There's this rapper here in Florida. Her name is Brianna. I think it's Brianna Perry. She's the prime example of it. She is a rapper. She does her music thing, but she is also a college graduate. I forget in what degree, but she advocates for that. And there's nothing wrong with you doing two things at once. I didn't feel that way back then. I felt like if you're saying go back to school, that somehow means that you don't believe in me. But after our talk and us really having those moments of clarity, and her really saying, listen, like, this is the real world, you know, just do something that you can at least enjoy doing, that's going to make you a lot of money, so that you can go into other sectors. Because my mindset then is the same mindset that it is now. And my sister, she always knew this. Sierra don't like working for people. I cannot tell y'all how many jobs I've had in my career, and I've quit like that. It's more than two hands, that's for sure. It is. And it's something that I'm really proud of. I mean, it's not like a notch on my belt to say I did that, but it took me some time to realize, like, Sierra, what is it? Is it the people, or is it you? And after really sitting down with my thoughts, I concluded that it is me. And it's not me in a bad way. it's me in the sense I cannot work below my capacity. That's what I had to learn. I didn't know what it was. I'm like, is it me? Am I just too sensitive? Do I not just fit in with the older generation, how they stay on jobs for 20, 30 years? Why am I losing interest so quick? I mean, I would lose interest so quick with these jobs, y'all. That is ridiculous. And obviously coupled with all the bull crap that happened at each job, whether it was just so unprofessional, whether people were rude, whether it's the customers, whether it's the fact that I felt like I wasn't being challenged creatively. It was all of those things, but it boiled down to I cannot work for someone else because I need to be in my creative zone. I'm an Aquarius, if that's not clear enough. I need to be in my creative zone. I need to be doing my own thing. I need to have flexibility. I need to have my freedom. Those things will only happen if I go into business for myself. And my sister knew that. But we were just discussing, okay, you're still going to do your entrepreneurship, but how are you going to get the money? You don't want to take out business loans, do you? No. Especially going to nursing school. At this time, she was trying to tell me, like, Sierra, just finish nursing, finish your prereqs, and then go into a nursing program, right? You don't have to stay in there forever. You know, just do what you got to do. Be the best darn nurse you can. Scale out and then fund your own business. And that's what I'm talking about overall. I hope I didn't lose y'all too much, but that's what I'm talking about overall. That's why I became a nurse. I became a nurse so that I can earn enough money to do the things that I truly love to do in life, my passions, which is to go into business for myself. That's my reason. There's some people that would say that nursing is a calling. I disagree. I disagree, because if nursing is a calling, most of the nurses would never leave. If it was a true calling, these statistics in nurses leaving the entire field, not even just bedside, but the entire field, is astronomical. That cannot possibly be a calling. And obviously I know that a lot of the politics that's being played in these hospitals have to do with people leaving and getting burnt out. But the point is, if something is a true calling, most people won't leave, if not all. Nursing is not a calling for me. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and try to tell you some fictitious story about, oh, I got into nursing because my grandmother fell ill and I just knew that I just had to save the world. And while I wish that was my story, it's not, but it is some others. It's some other story, and that's okay. That's good for them, but that's not my story, and that doesn't make me a bad person. I think that whenever you tell people anything other than I just love nursing and that's why I wanted to become a nurse, they somehow feel like you're doing it for the wrong reasons. No, I'm doing it for my reasons, and as long as I'm keeping that patient safe and I'm treating them like I would want my parents and my siblings and my family to be treated, that's all that matters. At the end of the day, it's none of anybody's business why you became a nurse. Now, obviously, when you go on interviews, I'm sure when I go on an interview as a new grad, they're going to ask me that. I don't understand why they do, because obviously nobody's going to tell you the truth, because most people can't handle the truth. The point that I'm making is everybody's reasons isn't going to be the same. The way I see it is, I could care less about why you became a nurse, because that's not my business. What I care about is how you are as a nurse. How are you as a nurse? And once you get to that level of thinking, life will be a lot more easier. For me, I'm just not that girl that has that story. I went into nursing so that I can make money. I went into nursing so that I can make money. And guys, now that's my primary reason for wanting to become a nurse. You still got to have a heart somewhere. You still have to have some type of humanitarian spirit in you, which I do. I truly enjoy helping people. I do. I enjoy helping people get back to their better self. That's another reason why I wanted to become a nurse. Because if you're just going for money and money alone, it ain't gonna last. You have to have some type of enjoyment in your field. Like, that's me. I do enjoy helping people. And I know there's 1,000,001 ways to help somebody other than a hospital, but that's where the money come into play. I enjoy helping people, right? I enjoy helping them get back to their better self, and I enjoy making the money. So you put those two together and you get nursing. Now that's my reasons, and I'm gonna be a darn good nurse for the time that I am full-time, because the whole idea for me is to do my time. That sounds so bad, like I'm in jail. But it's to do my time on whichever floor, whichever unit it is, but it's ultimately going to be bedside, but do my time there. I would like to scale into being remote, to doing CDS, which is being a clinical documentation specialist. But that's my goal. It's either to do that or to be a utilization review nurse. One of two. Either way, I would like to scale down to being non-bedside, and I want to hone in on my separate businesses outside of nursing, which actually has nothing to do with nursing, but it's things that I enjoy. That's my end goal, guys. That's why I do it. Everybody want to know my why? That's my why. That's why I do it. That's why I do nursing, so that I can feed my true passions outside of school, and that's to work for myself. You know, that's just me. People have their other reasons, but that is why I got into nursing. Now, I hope I didn't take too long explaining this, but I felt like it would be very essential for y'all to know what led up to it. You know, where did I come from? Why did I spend so much time out of school? Why did I get back into school? And everything. But if you made it, well, how long I've been on here? 23 minutes. If you made it this far, you are the real MVP. And I'm also going to ask you to like this video, subscribe, comment. Let's sound off in the comment section below. Why did you become a nurse? Or why are you in nursing school to become a nurse? What are your reasons, right? This is a safe space. Whatever your reasons are is fine. And yeah, that's it, y'all. Let me get my head in the books. It is what? Oh my gosh. What is this? What? I gotta go. I just got some bad news. Peace. Let's just hit the rewind. We'll just have to